All right, y'all, let's talk about emotionally focused therapy. Um, this is talking more specifically about emotionally focused couple therapy. That's the most common application. There's also emotionally focused family therapy and emotionally focused individual therapy, so EFFT and EFIT. It's mostly known as emotionally focused therapy. All right, so we'll begin our exploration with emotionally focused couples therapy, often referred to as EFT. EFT is one of the most widely researched and empirically supported. Oh, sorry, y'all. Forgot that there's transitions like this. Models for treating relationship distress. It integrates two major theoretical traditions: the experiential or humanistic approach, which emphasizes emotion and authentic experience, and the systemic or interactional approach, which focuses on relational patterns between people. EFT views distress as something that happens between partners, not within individuals, and it sees emotion as the key to understanding and transforming these relational patterns. Couples typically come to therapy caught in repetitive negative cycles, such as one partner pursuing while the other withdraws. EFT helps partners access the deeper attachment needs and fears beneath those patterns and restructure their interactions to create closeness and security. All right. I think that's it on this. Okay, EFT shares its roots with the humanistic therapies such as Carl Rogers' person-centered approach and the Gestalt tradition. These models emphasize that the therapeutic relationship itself is inherently healing and that growth occurs when clients feel accepted, validated, and emotionally safe. From this lens, the EFT therapist aims to create a deeply empathic and egalitarian alliance. Rather than being an expert who analyzes from a distance, the therapist joins with each partner in a process of discovery. EFT assumes that people have an innate capacity to make creative, healthy choices when given the opportunity to feel safe and understood. Our role as therapists is to foster those conditions, to create a space where vulnerability can emerge and connection can be restored. Okay. Experiential therapy also teaches us that the way we internally construct our emotional experience influences how we engage with others. When we experience the world through the lens of fear, shame, or unworthiness, we tend to act in ways that confirm those fears. EFT helps clients interrupt that cycle by having new corrective emotional experiences in session. These corrective experiences don't come from talking about feelings abstractly, they come from feeling and expressing emotion safely in the moment. The therapist facilitates here and now emotional encounters where clients begin to experience themselves and their partners differently. This process is what fosters true transformation, not simply understanding, but feeling something new and sharing it within a safe relational context. Alongside its experiential foundation, EFT is grounded in systemic theory. Systemic thinking reminds us that people exist in patterns of interaction and that causality in relationships is circular rather than linear. That means we don't ask who started it. Instead, we ask how did both partners participate in the cycle? EFT therapists view the couple as an emotional system where each person's behavior makes sense in response to the other. One partner's withdrawal might be a reaction to the other's criticism, which in turn may stem from feelings of rejection. This perspective allows the therapist to move away from blame and toward understanding, seeing both partners as caught in a cycle that no one consciously chooses, but both reinforce. Systemic theory also highlights the concept of homeostasis, the system's natural tendency to maintain balance. Even dysfunctional patterns often serve this purpose, keeping the relationship predictable even when it's painful. The therapist's task is to interrupt these rigid, repetitive interactions so that new, healthier patterns can emerge. In EFT, we assume that all behavior in relationships is communicative. Whether a partner withdraws, criticizes, yells, or shuts down, those actions communicate emotional needs and fears. By reframing behavior as communication rather than pathology, we help partners begin to understand each other's actions as expressions of longing or protection rather than as attacks. EFT represents a postmodern, integrative approach to couples therapy. It combines empirical rigor with relational depth, and it is both time limited and highly effective. Because it's grounded in universal emotional processes, it's been successfully applied across diverse cultures and relationship types. EFT also aligns with feminist therapy principles. Both emphasize collaboration, relational equality, and empowerment through vulnerability. EFT reframes dependency, often viewed as a weakness, as a natural and healthy human need. From this view, emotional accessibility and responsiveness between partners are markers of strength, not fragility. A couple's ability to run toward one another is seen as a profound sign of relational health. A healthy relationship from an EFT perspective is characterized by a secure attachment bond. This means both partners are emotionally accessible and responsive. They can reach for each other and expect to be met. When this bond feels secure, partners are better able to regulate their emotions, solve problems, and communicate clearly. A secure attachment provides a safe emotional environment. In this space, partners can take risks, express needs, and repair ruptures without fear of rejection. EFT therapists work to help couples move from patterns of disconnection and defensiveness toward these secure patterns of trust and responsiveness. Attachment theory tells us that drive for connection is an innate survival mechanism. From infancy through adulthood, our brains are wired to seek proximity and emotional safety with significant others. In adult romantic relationships, the partner becomes both a safe haven in times of stress and a secure base from which we can explore the world. EFT normalizes dependency in adult relationships. Rather than pathologizing closeness, EFT sees it as essential to thriving. A secure bond allows partners to hold two key beliefs: that others are dependable and trustworthy, and that they themselves are lovable and deserving of care. When those beliefs are shaken, distress follows, and the work of therapy becomes repairing the emotional trust. EFT views relationship distress through the lens of attachment insecurity and separation distress. When partners lose a sense of emotional connection, it triggers powerful fear and panic, what we call attachment panic. This fear may show up as anger, control, withdrawal, or blame. Importantly, EFT reframes these behaviors as signs of dysfunction, as not as signs of dysfunction, but as protests against disconnection. When a partner lashes out or shuts down, it's often a desperate attempt to manage the pain of emotional isolation. The therapist's goal is to help partners access and express the vulnerable feelings, fear, sadness, longing, that lie beneath these protective strategies, creating new opportunities for empathy and responsiveness. At the heart of EFT is a strong collaborative therapeutic alliance. The therapist provides a secure base for the couple to explore their emotions and relational patterns. The therapist's stance is that of a compassionate guide, someone who helps partners make sense of their emotional world and interactions without taking sides or assigning blame. EFT rests on the idea that emotion is a primary organizer of experience and behavior. Our emotional responses shape how we perceive ourselves and our partners and how we act in relationships. When we work directly with emotion in therapy, helping partners identify, express, and respond to their attachment needs, we can transform negative cycles into new patterns of safety, closeness, and trust. EFT assumes that attachment needs are fundamentally healthy and adaptive. Wanting closeness, reassurance, and responsiveness from a partner is not weakness, it is part of being human. Problems arise not because of these needs, but because of the ways they are expressed when safety is threatened. For instance, one partner may criticize or demand attention when they fear disconnection, while the other withdraws to protect themselves from perceived rejection or failure. These two strategies reinforce each other in a painful feedback loop. The more one pursues, the more the other feels threatened, or the more the other retreats. The therapist's role is to help partners see this cycle for what it is, an expression of longing for safety and connection, and to de escalate it. EFT teaches that affect and interaction are inseparable. Our emotions influence how we behave with our partners, and our interactions reinforce how we feel. Change begins when the therapist helps the couple interrupt this negative loop and create a sense of safety that allows new emotional responses to emerge. In EFT, meaningful change doesn't happen through intellectual insight or rational problem solving alone. It happens through new emotional experience that occur in the present within the therapy room. The client, therefore, is not either individual partner, but the relationship itself, the emotional bond they share. Through the therapist's guidance, partners learn to recognize their deeper emotion and attachment needs, share them openly, and respond to each other in new ways. When one partner reaches out with vulnerability and the other partner responds with empathy, the couple experiences what EFT calls a bonding event. These moments redefine the emotional landscape of the relationship and begin to replace the old patterns of fear and distance with new ones grounded in safety and responsiveness. The process of change in EFT is structured and intentional. It unfolds through three overarching stages that include 9 distinct steps. These stages guide the therapist in moving couples from conflict and emotional disconnection toward engagement, bonding, and integration. The first stage focuses on de escalation, helping the couple understand and step outside of their negative cycle. The second stage involves restructuring interactions, guiding patterns to express vulnerability or vulnerable emotions and needs, and to respond to one another in new healing ways. The third stage focuses on consolidation and integration, where couples solidify their new patterns of connection and use them to address ongoing challenges. The first stage of EFT, called de escalation of negative cycles, begins with assessment and alliance building. Step one is creating a strong therapeutic alliance, establishing safety, trust, and openness so both partners can explore their emotions. Step two involves identifying the negative interactional cycle in which their issues are expressed. This is often where we see patterns like pursue, withdraw, criticize, defend, or attack, retreat. The therapist helps both partners begin to see this cycle as the real problem, not one another. The goal is to externalize this cycle so it becomes the shared enemy the couple can face together. Once the cycle is identified, step three involves helping each partner access and articulate the unacknowledged emotions underlying their positions in the cycle. A partner who seems angry may actually be afraid of rejection. One who withdraws may feel shame or helplessness. The therapist uses empathy and reflection to bring these emotions into awareness. Step 4 reframes the problem in terms of the negative cycle, the underlying emotions, and the unmet attachment needs driving them. When partners begin to see that their behaviors make sense in the context of fear and longing, defensiveness softens and empathy begins to grow. The couple starts to view the cycle as the pattern that deprives both of emotional security, a shared challenge rather than a personal failing. The second stage is called changing interactional positions. Step 5 focuses on helping partners identify and express disowned or hidden attachment emotions. Those tender, vulnerable parts of the self that may have been suppressed to avoid hurt. For example, a partner who appears angry might discover a deep sadness or fear of being unworthy of love. As these emotions surface, the therapist supports the partner in integrating these new experiences into the relationship. Step 6 involves promoting acceptance of the partner's emotional experience. When one partner risks vulnerability and the other receives it with compassion rather than defensiveness, a new type of emotional engagement begins to form. Oops. Step 7 deepens this process by helping partners express their attachment needs and longings directly to one another. These moments of open expression, often referred to as bonding events, redefine the emotional connection in the relationship. For instance, one partner might be able to say, "When I feel you pull away, I get scared that I don't matter. I need to know you're here." And the other might respond, "I didn't realize how much that affected you. I pull back because I feel like I'm failing you, but I do want to be close." In these moments, couples experience emotional engagement that reshapes their bond in profound and lasting ways. The third and final stage of EFT is consolidation and integration. Step 8 focuses on helping couples develop new solutions to old relational patterns, now approached from a place of security and empathy rather than fear or defensiveness. Step 9 consolidates these new positions and cycles of interaction, reinforcing the couple's ability to maintain their connection outside therapy. Partners learn to recognize when they're slipping back into old patterns and use their new communication skills to restore emotional safety. The relationship becomes a more secure base for both individuals to grow and thrive. EFT uses a consistent set of interventions designed to access and restructure the emotional experience. These include reflecting emotional experience, validating each partner's perspective, using evocative responding, heightening emotion, and employing empathic conjecture. Each intervention serves to deepen emotional processing and promote new ways of connecting. For example, reflection helps partners slow down and notice what they're feeling in the moment. Validation affirms that their feelings make sense, and heightening helps them experience emotions more fully and express them in a way their partner can understand. Restructuring interventions take this work a step further. The therapist tracks the couple's interaction in real time, reflects what's happening between them, and reframes these exchanges in the context of an attachment cycle. The therapist may then use enactments, inviting partners to express their new emotional responses directly to one another. These enactments are powerful because they move insight into experience. Rather than talking about being disconnected, partners actually practice turning toward one another in new ways. Over time, these moments of emotional risk taking and responsiveness build the foundation for lasting change and secure connection. Oops, sorry, y'all. Reflection and validation are among the most fundamental interventions in EFT. Reflection involves the therapist mirroring or summarizing what a client says, but doing so in a way that heightens emotional awareness and deepens understanding. It's not just parroting back content, it's attuning to the emotional meaning behind the words. Validation complements this by affirming that each partner's feelings make sense given their experience. Many clients come to therapy feeling misunderstood or dismissed. Reflection and validation help them feel seen and heard. Together, these interventions communicate acceptance and empathy, creating safety for deeper emotional exploration. In EFT, the goal of reflection and validation is twofold. First, to focus attention on emerging emotions, and second, to differentiate one partner's internal experience from the other's intent or character. For example, a partner may feel unloved, but that doesn't mean the other is unloving. Clarifying this distinction helps reduce defensiveness and opens space for connection. Here's an example of how reflection and validation might sound in session. A therapist might say, "So, help me understand, Ellen. What you're saying to Peter is that you don't see signs that he wants you or misses you. What you feel instead is that you're never enough, that you disappoint him, that you're being judged and found wanting. You feel defeated and deflated. Is that it?" This kind of reflection captures the emotional essence of the client's experience while inviting confirmation or correction. Notice that the therapist's tone is curious and compassionate, not analytical. The goal is not to interpret, but to understand, allowing the client to feel genuinely recognized. Here's another example. "I think I understand. It's like when he said how depressed he was, you felt overwhelmed and scared, like this heavy weight was crushing you. So, after a while, it made sense that you pushed back or got angry. That was how you tried to breathe again. You weren't trying to hurt him, you were trying to survive. Is that it?" This kind of reflection validates both the feeling and the behavior that followed. It acknowledges the protective function of the reaction while gently gently connecting it to the underlying emotion. These reflections help partners begin to view themselves and each other with more compassion, which is a critical shift in EFT. The purpose of reflection and validation isn't only to soothe, it's also to help clients make meaning of their emotional experience. When partners hear their inner world articulated clearly by the therapist, it often evokes emotion they didn't realize was there. By consistently reflecting and validating, the therapist helps partners recognize that their emotional reactions are understandable and that their pain stems from disconnection, not defensiveness. This process lays the groundwork for vulnerability, allowing partners to begin taking emotional risks with each other. Evocative responding builds on reflection by helping clients move to the leading edge of their emotional awareness. It's about guiding them just far enough into their emotion that they can deepen their experience without becoming overwhelmed. The therapist listens for subtle cues, a tremor in the voice, a change in posture, a fleeting expression, and invites the client to stay with that feeling a little longer. For instance, the therapist might say, "Can you say that again, Mary? That part where you said, 'I'm not going to let you destroy me'?" By slowing down and revisiting that emotional edge, the therapist encourages the client to expand their awareness, uncovering layers of meaning behind the initial expression. Evocative responding here we go, is an invitation to explore. It might sound like, "When you say that, Sam, there's a catch in your voice, like it hurts you even to it into words, like you're afraid you might not be what Mary wants." Or, "You want to run and hide, but another part of you insists that you stand your ground. Is that right?" Notice how the therapist's tone is gentle but persistent, curious rather than confrontational. These responses help clients discover parts of themselves that may have been hidden or defended against. The aim is not catharsis, but expansion to broaden the client's emotional experience in a safe, connected way. Heightening is an intervention used to amplify and intensify emotional experiences. The goal is to help clients feel the full significance of what they're expressing and to bring key emotions into sharper focus for both partners. The therapist might heighten by repeating emotionally charged phrases, emphasizing key words or using metaphors that catch the depth of feeling. For example, so when you, okay, this is the example. um, okay, you'll see it again. So when he left the house in anger, it wasn't just that you were mad, it was that you felt completely alone. The scary part wasn't his anger, it was the emptiness that came afterward. Heightening helps clients take emotional risks, stay with vulnerability longer, and experience connection as transformation rather than threatening. When the therapist heightens emotion, they're also modeling attunement and acceptance. The therapist's voice, pacing, and presence communicate that strong emotion is not dangerous, it's welcome, and it can be held safely in session. By emphasizing key emotions, the therapist allows both partners to fully register what's happening between them. The partner hearing the emotion often feels moved or softens in response. These moments can help open new pathways for empathy and change the emotional tone of the relationship right there in the room. So, this is the example that I put in the last one. Sorry, y'all. Okay, empathic conjecture is a more advanced EFT intervention. It involves a therapist tentatively suggesting or formulating possible meanings behind a client's behavior or emotion, especially when the client struggles to articulate them. These conjectures are offered as empathic hypotheses, not interpretations. The therapist might say, "It's like you've gone far away to a place where no one can hurt you. Is that what helps you feel safe right now?" This approach invites the client to explore new insight without feeling pushed or corrected. Empathic conjecture helps clients deepen awareness of attachment fears, longings, and defenses, the hidden emotional logic that drives their reactions in the relationship. Empathic conjecture often brings new meaning to defensive or avoidant behavior. So for example, when a client says, "I don't know, I just feel quiet," the therapist might gently suggest, "It's like you've gone a long way away where no one can reach you because that feels safer than being hurt again. Is that right?" By naming the protective function of withdrawal or anger, the therapist helps clients once uh, understand that their reactions once made sense in the face of danger or shame. When these meanings are understood and validated, clients may begin to choose new paths of responding that foster closeness rather than distance. Empathic conjecture is powerful because it gives voice to what's implicit, the fears and needs that have never been fully expressed, and in doing so, opens the door for healing connection. This example demonstrates the depth of precision of empathic conjecture in EFT. Notice how the therapist is gently guiding the client to articulate emotional meaning that lies beneath the defensive or numb state. The client begins by saying, "I space right out." Many clients use this kind of dissociative language to describe how they cope with overwhelming emotion. Instead of analyzing or challenging the distancing, the therapist stays with it, asking, "What's it like being spaced out?" This simple, attuned question signals that the therapist is not afraid of the client's experience and invites the client to stay present with it. When the client says "empty, but it's better than," and trails off, the therapist senses a deeper emotional truth waiting just below the surface. With warmth and curiosity, the therapist gently fills in the gap. "Then being humiliated and shamed? Is that it?" This conjecture, a tentative empathic hypothesis, it's offered softly as an invitation rather than an interpretation. When the client confirms, "Yes, he laughed at me," the therapist deepens the emotional connection even further. "Like you didn't matter. Your longing didn't matter. Like you were nothing, yes?" Here, the therapist is naming the client's most painful attachment fear, being unworthy of care and dismissed in their need for connection. In moments like this, empathic conjecture helps clients move from vague discomfort to explicit emotional awareness. The therapist's tone, pacing, and empathy make it safe for the client to contact feelings of shame and rejection that might otherwise remain buried. By staying with the pain and giving it language, the therapist transforms it from an isolating experience to one that can be witnessed and held, a critical step toward healing attachment wounds. This kind of work illustrates why EFT is such a powerful approach. The therapist isn't simply observing emotion, they're participating in it, helping clients organize and express their inner world in a way that invites comfort, responsiveness, and ultimately connection. Empathic conjecture continues as a gentle but transformative process. The therapist offers meaning in a way that helps clients integrate experiences of pain, shame, and longing into a coherent emotional narrative. For example, the client may say, "I won't plead and beg. He'll wait a long time for that." The client might respond, "You'll go where he can't find you. And in that way, you protect yourself from humiliation. It's lonely, but at least you stay intact. Is that right?" This conjecture reframes defensive withdrawal as a self-protective strategy born from deep pain. Instead of shaming clients for shutting down, the therapist helps them see how these patterns develop to keep them safe. In doing so, the therapist invites compassion and curiosity, both for self and for the partner. When empathic conjecture is done successfully or skillfully, it expands clients' awareness of their emotional world, allowing them to connect to softer, more vulnerable feelings beneath the surface. These insights often catalyze the emotional shifts that can lead to connection and repair. At its core, EFT's mechanism of change lies in emotional expansion, the process of helping clients access and transform their attachment related fears and needs in the context of a safe, attuned relationship. When partners begin to experience their emotions differently, especially their attachment fears, they also begin to relate to one another differently. Instead of responding with anger, withdrawal, or control, they learn to reach for connection from a place of vulnerability. The therapist helps clients understand that emotions are not the problem. Emotions are information. They tell us what we need and guide us toward healing. By engaging with emotion, clients learn to communicate needs directly and to respond to each other's needs with empathy and reassurance. Through this process, defensive stance gives way to softer, more affiliative positions, and new emotional experiences begin to organize new interactional patterns. In successful EFT sessions, we often witness what's known as softening, a moment when one partner moves from self protection to open vulnerability. The other partner, seeing this vulnerability, often responds with empathy instead of defensiveness. These moments mark the beginning of a new cycle toward connection, a new emotional pattern, one of safety, responsiveness, and care, starts to replace the old, reactive one. Change in EFT is not simply behavioral, it's experiential and relational. Partners begin to see themselves and each other through a new lens, not as enemies or threats, but as two people longing for closeness and understanding. As the shift unfolds, both partners develop new internal models for self and other. "I am lovable and worthy of care, and you are dependable and responsive to me." This is the hallmark of secure attachment, the foundation EFT aims to build. Becoming an EFT therapist requires more than mastering a set of interventions. It involves cultivating a way of being in the therapy room. EFT therapists are deeply emotionally engaged, attuned, and present. They model the very qualities they hope to help partners embody: empathy, acceptance, and responsiveness. To work effectively within the EFT model, therapists must be comfortable with emotion, both their own and that of their clients. EFT sessions are often emotionally intense, and the therapist must hold that intensity with steadiness and compassion. In this model, the therapist does not stay detached or neutral. Instead, the therapist's engagement, their willingness to feel and respond emotionally, becomes a therapeutic tool. By maintaining an empathic stance, the therapist creates a secure base from which partners can take emotional risks, explore pain, and discover new ways of connecting. EFT also challenges some of our cultural myths about attachment and independence. Oops, sorry, y'all. So EFT also challenges some of our cultural myths about attachment and independence. Many people have learned that needing others is a sign of weakness, that mature adults should be self-sufficient and avoid neediness. EFT reframes this narrative. In reality, when attachment needs are denied or suppressed, they often become distorted. People may seek closeness in desperate and controlling ways, or they may shut down altogether to avoid disappointment. EFT helps clients and therapists recognize that the emotional dependence is not pathology, it's part of being human. When we can honor and express our attachment needs openly, they tend to soften rather than escalate. The therapist's role is to normalize this process, helping couples move from cycles of disconnection towards secure mutual dependence, where both can give and receive care freely. All right, so I do want to end with showing y'all EFT in action. So let me stop my share. There we go. And I will you'll be able to watch me for a second, find this clip of Sue Johnson doing therapy. So let me share this again. Okay, let me maximize this. And then, whoop, sorry, I thought this was at the beginning.
I don't even need a who's right. I don't need to always be right. I would just like to be heard. I'm sorry. I hear that you feel that way, Rhea. I don't mean it to be like that. I love you. That would be okay. I don't need to hear everything I said is right. I don't really agree with you, Rhea, but I hear what you're saying.
So,
And I love you. And I don't know what to do now, so I gotta go.
right, so you help me. You're saying something incredibly powerful to this man. Okay. What you're saying to him, if I'm hearing you right, is you're saying to him, Matt, I don't need you to be perfect. I don't need to be right. I don't need you to be right.
I don't need you to fix it right this
I
second.
don't need you to fix it. It's okay for me to be disappointed sometimes. I just need to know that I'm important to you and you can reach for me. That's all I need to know.
I'm sorry you're upset, Rhea, and
What I'm doing here is outlining and going and reflecting her attachment hurts, her attachment needs and longings, and listening to her. My assumption is validating her, reflecting her feelings, helps calm her down, and be able to come more into the moment and stay with the present process.
I'm sorry you're upset, Rhea, and I love you.
Yeah, I'm
Something
sorry.
like
I
that.
care about how you feel. I care that you're hurt.
I don't mean it to sound
And
like
even
that.
though we're getting caught in this dreadful dance here, I love you. You need reassurance. Yeah? That's what you're
Yes.
telling him?
Yes.
You're saying to him,
I love
in
you,
those
even
moments,
though it sounds like I don't love you, and even though I don't know what to do for you, and I can't really be this person, and I don't have anything for you, I do love you, and I don't
even
want.
though you might be telling me, Matt, that you don't know how to be with me right now and that you're overwhelmed right now, what I need is somehow to know that you're still struggling to be with me. I matter to you and that you love me in spite of all this.
Because I don't really know that he loves me right now.
Right. I need reassurance. That's what telling you. Yeah.
I just don't know
Yeah.
that he
Can
loves
you
me really.
can you can you tell him that right now, even in those dreadful moments? This is the first time that I create an enactment, which is a central part of EFT. What I've done is gone in and tried to distill her emotions, really focusing on the attachment meaning and get a more clear sense of her core emotions, her primary feelings underneath all this anger, and then ask her to give this emotional signal, this clearer emotional signal about these underlying feelings to her partner. Even in those dreadful moments, it would help me so much not to spiral down into despair, to know that even though we're caught in this dreadful clash of titans, that I still matter to you, that you love me. Can you tell them that? That's what I'm longing to know. That's what would fix it for me in that moment. Can you
It
tell
would
them
help
that,
me
Rhea?
calm down. And it would help me stop trying to be right or to make my point to you if you could just
Reassure me.
somehow reassure me and tell me that you love me. Or make some gesture that would just,
Reach for me, yeah? If you reach for me,
anything would be nice to make me feel like you don't just have nothing for me.
right.
I hear what you're saying. I hear that. My immediate reaction is nobody's doing that for me, and I'm putting forth one more effort. My finger is in the dam and the water is lapping over,
Yeah.
and I got to do one more thing.
All right, y'all, that's all I have for you on EFT.
Bipolar disorder versus borderline personality disorder.